welcome to Spooktacular Day 9. Let me know in the comments if you're having so much fun. I am loving it, and I'm loving seeing all the comments that have been coming through, all the winners for the Zoom party and for the daily giveaways and everything, and I'm just, I love it. Make sure, if you haven't already, there are 2 things that we've given out so far that are available to everyone. One is an ebook copy of The Witch's Key, so you can find that on the Day 2 post. The other one is from the Day 7 post, where I created a desktop wallpaper that has some shadow demons and spooktacular kind of themes. One of them has a November calendar and the other one just has an extra photo. So if you want to download those and use them on your computer, those are also free for everyone. And if you're looking to treat yourself, the Day 3 post has an order form, and you can also find it over in the Coven to order some of my books, my paperbacks signed. This is the first time I've offered this, and I thought when I was planning, like, oh, there'll be maybe 100 book orders and that'll be so fun to sign them. But you guys, now we are over 400 book orders have come in. So November is going to be a really fun month to get all of those books in from Amazon and pile them up and get to sign them for you. It just makes me so happy. So if you want to order some of those books before the order form closes on Friday, now's the time to get that in. So I will leave the link for you on today's post as well, Day 9. But today is really all about why I love being a writer. And it's really just about sharing that love, because I know that so many of you also dream of being writers, or you have been readers for your whole life and have looked up to writers or have appreciated what reading and books have done in your life. And so just from a full-time writer, somebody who's been a full-time writer for 12 years, this is my perspective on really what it means to me and what my top 10 favorite things are about being a writer. So when I started writing down my list of top 10, look at this super cute planner, you guys. This is an Erin Condren planner, and you can change out the covers, and I have these purple ghosts and I just love them so much. But I was writing out my list of why I love being a writer, and then I was trying to organize them into a top 10 list, and it was like, okay, this is impossible, because how do you rank like being able to stay home with your kids versus like being able to change lives through your imagination? Like, there is really no way to rank those in orders of importance, because so many of these are such a huge part of my life and I'm so grateful for them. So this is kind of, today's video is a bit of a love letter to you as my readers and fans, because this is what I love most about my life and what I'm grateful for every single day that I get to do. And I would not get to do this if people didn't buy my books. So the fact that you're here and you're part of this community just means so much more to me than I could possibly express in this video. So here's my top 10 list of reasons why I love being a writer. Number 10, I can work from anywhere. So I can work here in this room. I can run to Panera and get a coffee and go and work there. Or I could fly to Bali and I could work, because as long as I have access to the internet, I have the kind of job that I can do from anywhere. And that has provided not only so much like opportunity for my muse and my creativity to be able to travel a little bit and still make money and do work, but it's also made it really fun and convenient and exciting for my family, because I don't have to be tied to a certain desk. Now, it might also mean there are some downsides to being able to work from anywhere, because if we go to Kalahari, for example, to go for Andrew's birthday, then I'm still potentially working while we're there. And sometimes I find it hard to cut it off so that I'm not like still on my phone trying to answer questions or answer emails or try to get a little bit of writing done. So this is why this is at number 10, because really and truly, it is such a blessing to be able to work from anywhere. And I understand how amazing that is, that I have that flexibility, but it also comes with a side of it's difficult to stop working sometimes. So that's the only reason it's at number 10, but it is definitely a reason that I am grateful to be a writer. Number 9 is that it opens so many doors. I never dreamed in a million years that being a writer and vlogging about it or sharing it on the internet would create so many opportunities in my life. I've been asked to be a keynote speaker. I'm speaking at, going to the Four Seasons next week to speak at a conference. And it's just so much fun to have the opportunity to go and speak to people, to be able to meet representatives from Amazon and Apple and BookBub and all these different places, and to go to conferences and network with people that I really admire and just the opportunities and experiences that come from being a successful writer are so huge. And just getting to experience that has been such a huge blessing in my life. Number 8, one of the reasons that I love being a writer is that it gives me an opportunity to work through some things that I've been through in my life, or questions that I have about the world or about my own beliefs as I'm writing. Because no writer writes like a bunch of stuff they don't believe in, or like puts values into their books or themes into their books that don't mean something to them. Everybody writes something that resonates with them, or we wouldn't even know to write it. So our books will often reflect in certain ways our values, our history, our pain, our love, and the questions that we have about the world. And sometimes I just find it so satisfying to be able to work through some of my relationships, or some of my questions about the world, or some of my curiosities about how life works and how people respond to each other and what those relationships will be like. I also get to sort of step into and try on other personalities, because when I'm writing Jackson, I have to become Jackson. When I'm writing Crash, I have to become Crash. And then when I'm writing Leanne, who is this totally different kind of character, I have to become Leanne. And so each of those characters from very different series have their own personalities. And so I have to kind of step into their mindset, especially as somebody who primarily writes first person POV. It's like when I sit down, I have to really put myself in that person's shoes and try to feel the things they feel and try to care about the things they care about. And so I get to explore different sides to myself and the way that I feel about things through my writing. And that is definitely a reason that I love being a writer. Number 7 is one that I was like, where do I put this on the list? Because it's probably the thing that affects my life most on a daily basis in some ways. But it's also like, how do you rank this? Which is, I get to use a lot of stationery. And I know this seems like a silly thing to put on the list, but it is something that brings me so much joy. And the fact, this is probably one of the things I loved best about being a teacher too, but I get to do it times 10 as a writer. I get to use so much Post-it notes, and I get to put up this whole big wall that I can put stickers and Post-it notes, and I can draw on it, and I can, play around with paper. I get to have as many planners as I want. I have tons of markers and pens, washi tape, dot markers, just everything you can imagine, and stickers and everything. And it's part of my job. It's part of my daily planning. It's part of my daily plotting and figuring out what happens in a story. And that may be one of the reasons that I love writing multiple POV, is because I get a chance to color code them. And it's just something about the way that I fundamentally am. Even when I was 7 years old, I would beg my mom, please get me the pretty notebook that has the pink paper. Or, we did not have a lot growing up, and I had a lot of hand-me-down kinds of things. And I would just, anytime I could get my hands on a little Trapper Keeper or something that was really cute, or a notebook with pink paper, or a really nice pen, or even just a set of Crayola markers, it was just like my birthday. I loved it so much. And now there's so much more available than there was, 30 years ago. And I am so grateful for that. So being able to use stationery, buy stationery, and have it all over my house is one of the top reasons that I love being a writer. And it's a tax write-off, so it makes it even better. Number 6 reason why I love being a writer is that the good guys always win. And I know this isn't true in all fiction, but it is true in all of my fiction. There may not be every single battle won, just see the end of book 7 in my Shadow Demon Saga and you will know what I'm talking about. Is there are going to be victories, and there are going to be devastating defeats and losses and pain that teach our characters something, or that complicate their story, or that add conflict and tension. So the good guys don't win in every single scenario, but in the end, in the ultimate end of every series that I write, there is going to be a silver lining. There's going to be a victory. If that feels like a spoiler, I apologize, but hopefully you already know enough about me to know that I wouldn't end the series like that. But even in book 12 that I have plotted, there are some massive defeats that are going to be potentially heartbreaking. I'm sorry to say that's part of why it's been very difficult for me to write book 12. But in the end, there's a way to express that victory. I'm writing heroes, I'm writing heroines, I'm writing people that find their strength, that reach deep inside themselves and figure out who they are and who they need to be in order to defeat evil. And that is the core of all of my stories. And even if you go into the Fair Hope series, it's like you do have these characters that are fighting their sort of internal demons and their trauma and the pain of the past and the people they don't want to be anymore. But eventually they do allow themselves to love, and they allow themselves to change and transform. And that is one of the reasons that I love being a writer, is I get to experience that on the page, and the feelings that I get to pull out of myself when a character knows they've done something or they've become something they don't want to be, and they change and they transform and they become the hero of the story or the heroine of the story, and they defeat the evil and they rise up. It's like, I want to be that kind of person in my own life. And one of my essential core values is sharing that kind of journey with my readers, so that you guys, when you're reading it, you can think, wow, if Harper can get through this and she can pick herself back up, then I can too. And that never give up attitude, even after defeat, I'm hoping is something that is encouraging and motivating and exciting for my readers. And so getting to explore that good guys win in the end and the heroes that they become, it's just really fun and meaningful for me. Now that I'm saying that, it's like number 5 also seems kind of silly, so just ignore the rankings. But number 5 reason that I love being a writer is that playing video games and watching TV gets to be work. This probably should have been down at number 10, because it's really it's kind of a silly thing, but it really does mean something in my life, that I get to sit down and read a book for fun. And it also gets to be part of my job, that I get to get ideas and I get to be inspired and I get to see examples of other people's great work so that I can aspire to be more like them. I get to watch, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and glean ideas from that and get excited from it. And it's work. I am playing through The Quarry currently on Twitch, and that gets to be work for me. And so then it doesn't feel like work at all. Like, work isn't even really the best word for that. It's like I get to play, and my play becomes my job, like my income, my inspiration and motivation. And that is such a gift. And I just love it. And I'm so grateful for that, because there are so many amazing stories out there in the world, and to be able to consume them and feel the inspiration and be a piece of those stories by viewing them, and then get to tell my own stories in my own way. It's just amazing. Number 4, community and connection with other writers. So I was talking earlier about how doors open, and this is part of that. It's kind of like a little sister one to that, because there are opportunities that open with brands and events and travel. But really the opportunities that mean the most to me are the connections that I get to make with the people that I meet. And one large group of people that I get to meet and coach and mentor and learn from and network with and all of that is fellow writers. So meeting fellow writers on Twitter and joining Facebook groups. And then when I started my YouTube channel, that is where the community really started to solidify. We have a writing group on Facebook that has over 5,000 members. And I feel like I know a lot of people's names, and I am so excited. Even just in my planner community, there's a Facebook group that I belong to that has, 1,000 people or so, that is planner people, paper planner people that are also writers or in the writing industry. And I get to go to this conference next week and see a lot of them, even though I've never met them in person. And that is just so cool. And I love getting to connect with that community and getting to share my knowledge with writers, getting to learn from other writers, and just creating those friendships that I know are going to last for a lifetime. That is priceless, and I love it. Number 3 reason why I love being a writer is that I get to stay home with my kids. And this is something that has also been a challenge in my career. in that, you know, Evie's home right now, and this morning she's already like come in to say hello or interrupt me or ask me to help her go to the potty, you know, a dozen times. And so being accessible in some ways is a challenge, but it's also such a gift that I get to be here with her all day and do my work. And George also gets to stay home. And that has been one of the greatest gifts of our lives because we get to raise our children. 2012 is the same year my son was born. And so shortly after he was born, we had this life together. Actually, I think George quit in 2013, but we have had almost a decade of us being able to be together all the time as a family unit. Other than when Andrew's out at school, we're home together. And that has been so amazing. So this is my core family. These are my people, like those writers that I was talking about, you guys here in the Coven, like you guys are my family. And I mean that. And it means so much to me that I get to stay home with my kids. I get to spend as much time with them as possible. And I get to see my husband all the time. And I will forever be grateful. I hope that I never take that for granted, that I get to spend so much time with them. And I don't know, like gratitude overflows because it is such an amazing life that we've built together and you're a part of that. So thank you for that. Okay, number 2 reason is that I get to make up worlds in my own mind and like what it's even hard to explain it. And I'm a writer. It's like the fact that I get to envision a world or a character or a scene and I can figure out the skill and learn the skill of putting that into words that then allows you as a reader to read it and see the same thing I saw in my head and to feel the same emotions that I felt. It's like mind-blowing to me. It's like magic. It is like being able to cast a spell on readers everywhere. You know, it's like, I know that not every reader feels the same things I do or appreciates my style of writing, or not every reader likes YA or twists and turns. Like everybody's unique. But for you, the readers that are here that love my work, it's like the ability for me to just create worlds out of literally nothing but my imagination and have you read it and get it and understand it and experience those twists and ask the questions that I wanted you to ask and feel the emotions and cry in the places that I cried. It's one of the greatest gifts of my life to be able to do that. And sometimes when I look at a big stack of books, it still kind of blows my mind and it's hard to believe that it's like, oh, that's like millions of words that I saw in my head before I ever put it onto paper, that now hundreds of thousands of people have seen those same things in their head. It's just like, it's a huge thing and it makes me feel so happy. And I love it. It's so much fun. And I have struggled, you know, over the past year, really, to be honest, I've struggled since Evie was born to get back into the full habit of writing. So it's been 3 years of only writing a handful of books and I feel it in my soul. So I'm praying now that she's older and we're settled into this house that I can get back to the fun and excitement of creating those worlds for you guys, because this is who I am. And it's fundamental to who I am as a person, is the ability to put these feelings and stories down on paper. And so I don't want to take that for granted either. So I love it. Number 2. And then reason number 1 why I love being a writer is you. My readers. Like I still sometimes cannot believe that these stories that I make up, you know, have brought all of us together, that you've taken this chance on me. Oh, I feel like I'm going to get emotional now and I don't want to cry, but like, it's a hard thing to put yourself out into the world. Where did that come from? It's like all this emotion. It's just pure gratitude for my readers. Like, it's a hard thing sometimes to like make things up, to tell your own version of stories, especially when you've held other writers and storytellers that you love up on this pedestal and you think, I'm nothing like them. I'm nothing compared to them. And then you slowly over years, like learn and try and experiment and pour your heart into things. You know, when I decided to be an indie author, I had only submitted my books to a couple of agents and publishers and just I just knew that it was not the right thing for me. I wanted to start my own publishing company, and I wanted to get books in the hands of readers that I wanted to tell, not things that an editor told me was good enough to sell. I wanted to tell the stories the way I wanted to tell them, and I wanted nobody to be able to tell me I couldn't do something. I wanted full control over my creativity. But I also was scared because without an agent or an editor to say, yes, this is good and it's going to sell, it's like you're just putting yourself out there and you don't really know if it's any good. And when those first few sales came in all the way back in 2010, I published my book October 29th. We were right near Halloween. And of course I shared it on Facebook. I'm like telling my friends, this is before I had a Facebook group or a page or anything. I just told my friends and family, hey, I have this book. And I sold like 10 copies or something. But then the next day I wake up and there's another couple copies and then another couple copies. And before I knew it, I had sold 59 copies. And I was thinking, I don't think I know 59 people who would be willing to like buy my book out of kindness. Like I think I'm reaching strangers, like people that don't know me. And then I published the next book in December and I was selling 1,000 copies. And then book 3, Bitter Demons, came out in February and I sold over 3,000 copies. And it was just this realization of like, oh my gosh, I know I'm not perfect and I know I'm not doing it like the best of anyone. I have a lot to learn. Those first books are really simple in terms of plot and dialogue. And I've come so far since then, but just knowing how many people have been scrolling through the Google Play Store or whatever and have seen that book and thought that looks good and read it and thought, oh, I got to read the next one. I love these characters. It's like, you guys make my whole life, because just the ability to share that with you and to be able to give that piece of myself and have people mirror back to me those good reviews, how much it's changed their lives, how much they love these characters, how excited they are for the next book, is one of the greatest gifts of my whole life. And I hope you know how much I appreciate you and how much I love the ability to do this, and hope that I can continue. And just, I'm hoping beyond hope that 2023 is going to be a major turning point, because a lot of the stresses of my life of the last couple years have been cleared, and I am looking forward to some stability and creativity and excitement. And I hope that you guys are all here for the end of the Shadow Demons series, the end of the Eternal Sorrow series, and then I hope you stick around for whatever comes next, because my heart is full of gratitude and I have truly come to love and appreciate all of you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for celebrating the Spooktacular with me. I'm sorry that I cried and I was not expecting that at all, but you know, writers are emotional beings. What can I say? Today, as a special giveaway, I will be giving away a writer's bundle. So anybody out there who is interested in being a writer or just really interested in notebooks and stationery like I am, I'm going to be giving away a customized writer's bundle. So this will have at least a $50 value, but whenever we choose the winner, I'm going to have a conversation with you and we're going to get to sort of chat about what you most would like to see. So if you already have a ton of craft books, I won't send you a craft book, but if you're just getting started as a writer, I'm going to send you some of my favorite like books on writing, as well as some notebooks and pens and post-it notes and everything else. And it's going to be super fun. Head over to the blog today for day 9 and go enter to win that writer's bundle. Let's do it, you guys. Thank you again for being part of my community, part of my Coven family, and hopefully it's just going to get bigger and better every year. All right, those are the reasons I love being a writer. If you want to, in the comments, let me know. If you're a writer, what are some of the reasons that you love being a writer? And if you're a reader, what are some of the reasons that you love being a reader? All right, I love you guys. I will see you on day 10. And if you're still hanging out, if you hang out last night watching The Quarry, I'm going to be there again tonight, 9 to midnight. Let's keep playing. All right, bye for now. See you tomorrow.